In this second tutorial, I'm going to develop API call to fetch data from Twitch API, display followed user on sidebar, and make streaming UI for multiple screen. So here, I'm going to start to develop API call function on Next.js app router handler. Let's create some example API handler for just get request and response text when we send with authorized token. This is just get idea how Next.js app router handler works. So we will create get status directory under app API directory, and then create route.es. So here we import next request, next response, and headers. Export async function for get method and put request as next request. Also, I want to get information from where user put in URI, so create param variable and use search param with get function from next request. In this case, I search name parameter. Then let's make your name variable to put param and some text. Also, if we want to take header information, we use headers. Finally, we can return next response with JSON strings. Let's try to test how it works this API. I use Postman for call API, but you can also use other common tools such curl, etc. Put URI with parameter and also put authorized token. Then API return message like this. Okay, now we can move to call Twitch API. Before you start this tutorial, it is better to read at least one of the Twitch API doc. In this API call, we call three following Twitch API in order to get channel information and icon. How to validate a token. Get followed channels. Get users. The first Twitch API call is to validate your token and get client ID. Let's create token variable and get authorization with using get function. And fetch from validation URI, we can put additional header in next request and return JSON object to deserialize promise object. Client ID is stored in client_ID from what we get object, and then we can call followed user list. This is simply repeat same thing with using appropriate URI. I want to create a text parameter which I will put in next API call. So this code is just adding followed username text as one line parameter. Finally, we call channel detail information by calling get users of Twitch API. We need to API endpoint and plus users information into parameter which I created just before. Once API called, we just need to put as JSON string. Also, I added platform as Twitch. In Postman application, I will put right token here and change URI for get Twitch channels. Here we got expected information were channel information and platform information. Login strings is the key information for passing value to streaming player of Twitch. This value we'll use later when it comes to create player component. Okay, Let's implement in client side. Here, I will update login.tsx and create one async function called getTwitch. Then fetch API, which we created before for /API/getTwitchChannels, and also added header for token. Handle as JSON object and dispatch to save channel information to Redux slice. One thing we need to update Redux slice, so let's move to slice.tsx and add Twitch channels and YouTube channels. Also export it. Go back to login.tsx, and where we use this getTwitch function is this API return followed user list so that we want to fetch when you sign in with Twitch. So I will put getTwitch after sign in process, so put after save Twitch session for getTwitch. Now we have information for followed user, so let's make sidebar content. This is pretty much simple that we just need take channel information from Redux and render it. So create sidebar.tsx in components and import module for useSelector Redux and avatar from shadecn UI. Put tChannel and yChannels variable from useSelector and render tChannels list by using map function in JSX. For additional step, I put width for responsive UI. I'm going to make two different UI depending of width size, one for full list, include icon and text, and another for just icon when sidebar becomes small size. As a last step, we need to update page.tsx to use this sidebar component, so move to page.tsx and import it. Also set up width and set width by useState. Go to resizable panel for sidebar and add on resize with allow function to have set width. This will store width size when you change sidebar size. And add sidebar component instead of text. Also put width. One correction that I need to update on sidebar component. Here we put tChannels.message, but it should be data instead of message. Now, I'm going to develop actual streaming player screen component. So let's create a streamscreen.tsx file under components. Import useEffect, useState, and useSelector from Redux. And then create screen, view, selected, and select platform variable where state come from Redux by useSelector. Also, let's put screen 1 to 4 info as useState. This variable will set streaming information such stream ID, platform. I want to dynamically update when select ID has been changed for screen information. Therefore, use effect and put set screen 1 in 4 with ID and platform. If we go to JSX area, this is simply describe select ID is not available, then view loading text, and if there is, then view stream player. Okay, let's create another component called Streambox. This will present player for Twitch and YouTube and also chatbox. In order to set video aspect ratio for React player component, we need to add some CSS like this, and just import it. This component expects props to receive stream ID, platform, and enable chat or not. There is a Twitch chat component already in module as React Twitch embed, but we need to manually create YouTube chat box if you want. This is actually easy to set up like this. We just need use iframe with stream ID. And then we go to Streambox component. We need to have Twitch and YouTube endpoint and plus stream ID, which you want to display channel. And if Twitch platform provided, then display React player component with Twitch endpoint, and if YouTube platform provided, then display with YouTube endpoint. Also update Stream Screen Component to use Streambox Component, and update Page.tsx to use Stream Screen Component in main area. Also, I want to display stream when I clicked one of the channel from Sidebar channel list. So I need to modify a bit Sidebar Component. Replace from div to button just under map function. Handle click function to enable when we do on click. Handle click function is just to save information to Redux which you clicked channel. Okay, now we almost finished the basic concept of streaming app. Once you finish this step, you could see Twitch streaming when you clicked the button of Sidebar. I could see now Street Fighter 6. So far we have only single screen, but I want to make it multiple screen. So I'm going to update header component first to create select UI for screen type and which screen you select. So go to header component and import use dispatch from Redux. Select screen, select view from slice and import select components from Shatcn. And then just make it when select screen type with single, double, triple or quad. Then it save which screen type user selected. And also same thing for screen number. And then go to Stream Screen Component. We want to display different UI depending of which screen type user selected. So update use effect to have switch case for which screen ID user currently selected. And create different UI depending of which screen type user selected. I'm using grid pattern for easy to manage display area. But of course there is another way to manage multiple screens such as Flexbox. Okay, now we finished multiple screen. In addition, I will explain YouTube API. YouTube API is actually limited quota so that we cannot call many requests per day, and it will soon to reach limit, so I don't recommend to use YouTube API directory if you have already information of channel. You should save it your database backend. Here is Get YouTube Channel API call which I created on App API directory. Basic concept is same as what I created for Twitch API. First, we need to fetch data which I subscribed YouTube channel and create URI string for next API call. YouTube API is not able to get multiple channel information at once, so I need to repeat API call with using map function. Also, we should use promise all to wait all API call return, otherwise we will not get correct response in the end. Second API call is to get channel, which live streaming, so if there is no live, then we put empty video ID. Because video ID is the key for what we should put into React Player. When you call this API, then you can receive this response and you can use information same as what we created Twitch case. But again, YouTube API quota is very limited. It will soon reach upper limit once you start to development. You could also request to raise more quota. But as long as we have max quota, then we will not able to such replacement of YouTube.